Hi Modern Miss Huxtables, hope all is well. Today I'm coming to you to talk about henna hair dye. This video is going to be a little bit more of an introduction and a background about henna, the kind that I'm going to use, a little bit more information, and then I'm going to make another video which is going to just be the how-to process. So how I mix my henna up, how I apply it to my hair, how I wash it out, and it'll be more of a visual step-by-step in terms of using the henna. But I didn't want to be talking too much in that video or worrying about giving background information while I was showing you how I do it to my hair, so I wanted to make this video first. So in my 10 steps to long, healthy hair, natural hair, I talk about henna being a really important part of my journey and part of my regimen. So the henna that I've been using is Lush by Lush. It's called Caca Noir, which basically means like black poop in French, and it comes in the store. I've already used half a bar, so this is what I have left. Let me flip my camera around so that I can make sure I'm getting this properly. Okay, so in the store it comes in a block like this, but it has 3 other pieces, so it's a block of 6 squares. I've already used half of this bar, so this is what's left, the 3 squares that are left. As you can see, it is, let me get better for you, it's green in coloring, a dark green, and they stencil onto it. It normally has 3 kind of like flower stencils, and then it says, I don't know, you can't read the words anymore, but lettering. So that's how it comes in a block of, it would have 3 more on top, 6. So for my length of hair, which you guys can watch my length check video, it goes to about 20 inches on the t-shirt. So let me just stand up so you can see my length of hair. Right now it's just blow dried and a little bit wavy, but not fully straightened, but it comes down to about there. So for my length of hair, I've been using 3 blocks, which is half a bar. These go for $25.95 at Lush, so I basically can get 2 treatments out of $26, so it's $13 a treatment. I'll get into a little bit more about why I use Lush and price points and stuff, but for those of you that have less hair or shorter hair, you might be able to get away with using only 2 squares every time or 1 square, so you can get at least 2 uses, I feel, out of the bar. So that's what I use. It comes wrapped in this, sorry, my allergies are so bad, I feel a sneeze coming on. It's okay. Okay, it comes wrapped in this packaging like this. On the inside, it has instructions for usage, and I'm going to go into that a little bit. So, well, first let's just talk about henna in general. When I use the term henna in my videos, what I'm referring to is a henna and indigo mixture. Mixing henna and indigo allows you to achieve black hair, unlike just using henna alone, which often leads to a reddish brown color. Most times, traditionally, when we think of henna, we think of that coloring, the reddish brown coloring. That's what is used in various cultures to do the henna body art on the hands and the face, and that is the traditional usage of henna. However, if you use henna mixed with indigo, or use henna first and then indigo after, you're able to achieve a black hair look, which is what I personally like and what I always go for. So let me just make sure that that's clear, because if you go online, or even if you go to Lush and you buy, I think they have 3 other color variations, typically you're going to be achieving the reddish brown look if you use just henna alone. So when I'm using that term, what I mean and what I'm referring to and what I'm using is a henna and indigo mixture to achieve black hair, not the reddish brown. And henna has been used for thousands of years in various cultures in Persia, Egypt, India to, like I said, achieve body art, they're not permanent, but you know, temporary body art on the body, the skin, and also for use in the hair. So it's very beneficial. I do a lot of research and watch a lot of other girls on YouTube and various hair blogs. Some of my friends on the blog Hairlista. I recognize those women that have really long hair and have really been successful in achieving their hair goals. Most of the time use henna. So I do think it's very beneficial. Obviously the things I say in my videos are my opinion, but I do find that a lot of other women have benefited from using it as well. So a couple tips for me when I do mine. I like to straighten my hair And for those of you that don't believe in applying any heat to your hair, it's not necessary, you don't have to, but I find that when my hair is straight, it allows for me to apply the henna even better. As you'll see in my video when I show you me applying it, you're basically making a paste, and when you purchase it, the way Lush sells theirs, they take the henna and indigo powder and they put it into a block form using cocoa butter as the kind of binder to make it hard. So basically this is a block, I'm knocking on it, you can hear, of cocoa butter and the indigo and henna. So when you add the water to this, you're going to make what is a mud type paste. It's going to be thick like pudding or brownie batter, and you're going to apply that to your hair. Now, as you can imagine, it's much easier to apply brownie batter or a paste like that to hair that is straight, because you can then smooth it onto the hair all the way down to the ends and part the hair easily and move down and make sure you're covering and coating each piece of hair. Whereas when the hair is in its curly state, especially if you have a tighter curl pattern, it's much harder to get kind of around each ringlet to pull the hair apart without tangling and make sure you're covering all of the surface area of the hair. It's just more difficult to do when the hair is curly. It's difficult to, if you can imagine something curled, to make sure you're putting product and the paste on each part of that curl as opposed to when the hair is straight. So for those of you that are kind of anti-heat or don't like heat, you can blow dry your hair on the lowest setting possible just to get it to lay down a little bit, and the purpose for that is for an easier application. Also for an easier washout. Some girls that I've seen that have tried this and complain or have problems or complications, they often say it's extremely hard for them to get the henna out of their hair once it comes time to wash it. And I think that also can be due to when your hair is in a curly state, it's much easier for the molecules in the powder to get caught and stuck on each strand. Imagine if you're like at the beach and you get sand all in your hair. If your hair is curly, the sand's gonna bind to each of those curls and little areas. It's much more difficult to wash it out. So I'm trying to make my explanation of this and when I do my video as foolproof as possible for like beginners, because it's kind of a tedious process and messy. And so the more, I guess, educated or aware of these things you can be, I think the easier that it is, because I've done this process numerous times over the years using this brand, and I think it's the best for being foolproof. Let me make one more comment about that. If you do the two-step process, it's called a two-step process, which is applying henna to your hair first, which creates, as I discussed, the red-brown color, and then you apply indigo separately to your hair after. That's called a two-step process. You can find information about that on websites that sell henna or blogs. I know on Curly Nikki's blog, she talks about that. There's a YouTube video showing that as well. The reason why I'm not going to talk about that in this video is because it's an even longer process. You have to apply the henna first, wash that out, then apply the indigo on top. So it's two steps. You need to order both henna and indigo separately. It takes longer and it can be a little bit more complicated in my opinion than doing it this way. So I'm just going to talk about this way first, where the henna and indigo is already pre-mixed for you in the block at Lush. It is a lot cheaper to do it that way if you have access to an Indian market. I have a coworker that's Indian that supplies me with henna and indigo and amla, which I'll do a video about later as well. It can be a lot cheaper to just get henna and indigo separately and do it that way. But I've heard a lot of stories of women not getting the results that they want, or not getting the indigo to stick to their hair and their hair coming out reddish brown. So I think this method is better, but just putting it out there. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or comment below and I can respond to you in terms of your hair needs or what you're thinking about doing. So hair straight. Another major tip, aside from what I think is a good idea to straighten your hair before doing this, do not, I'll show you guys when I put the mixture in, when you add the water, the mixture is going to become, as I said, a brownie batter. But once this sits on your hair for hours, it's going to go back to its hardened state. It's going to dry, and it's almost going to be like having a mud in your hair, mud that's dried. So when it comes time to wash it out, do not put shampoo on top of that first. Your impulse is probably going to be to put shampoo all over that and then try to wash it out. No. What I recommend that you do is, in the bathtub, make lukewarm water, enough water in the tub for you to put your hair back and let your hair just sit in the water submerged. No soap, no shampoo, nothing. And allow the henna and the cocoa butter in this case to become wet again. Allow it to gently kind of loosen and become warm and liquefied again so that it glides off your hair, and try to get as much of the henna off first. And this might take 3 or 4 times of emptying out the tub, refilling it, washing, just letting the water run in your hair before you attempt to apply shampoo. Unlike permanent dyes that break open your hair cortex to deposit the color, henna sits on the top of your hair. It's nourishing, it's strengthening to the hair, and it sits on the outside. So because of that, normally like the first 2 times I wash my hair, I still can't get it all completely out. Like, it's very difficult to get all of it completely out of your hair. So it does stay in there. The scent stays for quite a while in my hair. And you will see the color start to intensify days after you've done the treatment as well. So it's very difficult to get all of it out of your hair and wash out, but I recommend soaking your hair in the water first before you apply any type of cleansing products. Also, I'll talk in the video when I do the actual treatment, but if you want your hair to have more of a reddish brown tint, and normally when people use the regular henna or the other brands by Lush, the other henna lines that are trying to achieve red or brown hair, you often put plastic wrap on your hair or a plastic cap, and by covering it, it allows for the red hues to come out more. So when you're going to do the black version, you don't want to cover your hair. You don't want to put a shower cap on it or plastic wrap or anything like that, because it's going to not allow the indigo to activate in the way that you want it to. So that being said, you want to make sure you're using dark towels or towels that you don't care about. Maybe go to the dollar store and get some towels. Make sure that you're wearing a dark colored t-shirt. All things that you don't care about. Take out earrings, jewelry, anything that you don't want to get messed up or potentially dyed. And also be sure that you have like a towel to keep around your body, or if you're like on a couch or on your bed or something, so that you're not staining other surface areas. What else? Oh, be sure to use gloves. When I do my video today, I was just at Rite Aid to get allergy medication and I forgot to get gloves, so I did not feel like going back. So I'm going to be super bootleg and have to use plastic bags like this, which is really not ideal, but be sure that you're using gloves. You can get those at the dollar store as well. I've done it before without using gloves, and it will stain your nail beds and get them really nasty and greenish black looking, which looks horrible. It makes your nails look really dirty. About a couple weeks later, it went away, but you do need to use gloves or some type of protective barrier, especially for your nails, because the dye will get in between and look really gross. So gloves. What else? Oh, another tip. When you're washing the henna out, be sure, most people have a shower curtain liner that's either clear or white, and when you create like the soak to wash it out, a lot of times it'll leave a green layer of film on the bottom half of your shower curtain, and it's really hard to get out. And there's nothing worse than having the bottom of your shower curtain look extremely dingy and greenish black. Not a good look. So be sure to put all of your shower curtains on the outside of the shower so that they don't get stained. And I know this is probably going overboard with information and tips, but I'm just trying to think of all the things that I've done in the past incorrectly that I wish somebody had told me so that I wouldn't have messed things up. My nails, my shower curtains, etc. So try to put your shower curtains on the outside. Also, when you make the brownie batter henna, it's really, really messy. I've tried to be extremely, extremely careful and neat in doing this before, and without fail, you'll always have just glops and pieces falling to the floor. Even when I've had my sister apply it for me, we had henna all over the place. So most bathrooms, a lot of them have, and I have in my house now, like white tiles, white surface areas, like the sink is white. So I recommend getting garbage bags, cutting them open and applying them to the floor, or newspaper, applying them to the floor and the sink. And if your cabinetry is white, on all of that, and taping it down almost like a painting, like if you were going to do paint in your house and covered everything with plastic. It makes for a much easier cleanup. And the grout, or I think that's the proper term, the grout that's in between your tiles on the floor, a lot of times if you drop henna on them, it's very difficult to get it to lift. Like, it'll look dingy. Even if you get the green of it out, it'll still look kind of nasty and dirty and dingy. So I'm just giving you a heads up. I try to cover everything as much as possible so I don't get any henna much like using over-the-counter dye. It's the same thing. It dyes and can kind of ruin nice things. So be sure that you're covering everything as much as possible. A few things more specifically about the Lush. On this packaging, it says for stunning black hair with natural shine. It might not say it on here, but I believe the advertising in the store and online suggests that the Lush brand helps you achieve black, almost blue black hues, and I think that's a little misleading. I sometimes hear people be disappointed because they think that using this is going to get their hair super, super black, close to blue, and that's not the case. It definitely creates a black hair, but it's not extremely, extremely black. I used for years over-the-counter dark black dye, and henna is not as powerful as black dye. It's not going to give you the same intensity of black dye, I'm not going to lie. That's just the truth. But it's good for your hair, it's good for you, it's natural, so it's a much better alternative, but it's not going to give you the same results as over-the-color dye in terms of dyeing it really, really black. So I don't want to be misleading in that way. Also, I think in the instructions it says to leave it on for... Why am I doing this? You're not gonna leave it on for 1 or 2 hours for the best effect. I like to leave mine on a minimum of 6 hours, just to let it penetrate as much as possible. I've left it on overnight before. I've left it on so like 12 hours long. It doesn't really get any more intense if you leave it on for longer than that. The longest I've done is overnight. Sometimes you want to be careful with that and make sure your hair isn't drying out too much, because as I said, when it hardens, it can sometimes leave your hair dry if you leave it on way too long. So I think a minimum of 6 hours works. If you have less time, you can use it less time. Kind of depends. Trying to think what else. In the instructions in here, it says to use a double boiler, I think they're called. I have one, but I'm not going to use one for this video because I think a lot of people don't really have those, so I'm just going to show you how I do it. Also, another tip, indigo does not react well to really, really hot water. In these instructions, and I think that Lush uses like the same instruction pack for every hair dye, not, how do I say this? I think the instructions on the inside are the same regardless of what color you're going for. And what I mean by that is it says to use really, really hot boiling water. And if you're going to dye your hair red, you want the reddish brown color, that's better. But for products that have indigo in them, you don't want the water too hot because it will break down the indigo. So some people think like, oh, I need to make really, really hot boiling water because that gets the henna to activate. That's true, but it also will burn out the indigo. So for mixtures like this that are a henna and indigo mix, you don't want water that's too hot. But I'll show you that in the video when I make it and apply it. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, if you're going to buy online, make sure that you're getting body art quality henna. I know some people joke about that, but it's really important to make sure that you're getting a high quality henna. Sometimes companies will mix the henna with other things or water it down, or it's not a high quality. So it shouldn't be super expensive. It's not that henna should be really expensive, but you should be sure that you're buying from a reputable brand. Make sure you check the reviews and I don't know, maybe call the customer service number and just make sure that you're getting high quality. A lot of times it's referred to as body art quality henna. I think that's it. I want to make sure. I hope that's everything. If you have any more like specific questions or comments for other ladies out there, whether you're viewers or other vloggers, if you have experiences with henna, if you know of companies that you've used before that you've ordered from online, please put it down in the comment box, and then the comment box can be a place for us all of us sisters to read and comment and learn more information. So if you have another tip, or you disagree, or you do something another way, or you know of another brand that you'd like to recommend for ladies, please put it down in the comment box or message me. I will talk about it in the next video and refer to you, and then people can have more space to dialogue and have an exchange. So I know this has been a very requested video, so I just wanted to make sure that I got to it. And a lot of people have been messaging me on Hairlista about being interested in rinsing, doing a rinse on their hair, or wanting to dye their hair, so I wanted to get this out as quick as possible. So please subscribe, please let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.